Please be seated. Thank you very much. Let me recognize the director of these proceedings, Ambassador Clifford Maribe. Acknowledge with gratitude the presence of the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Lesotho, Right Honorable Samuel Mtsokwani Matekane, a good friend of the Republic of Botswana, almost a citizen, almost. He spent 8 years in the country doing work, building roads. He knows every part of the country, and he loves the country. He is back here, and we welcome him with gratitude. We appreciate the presence of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Botswana, His Lordship, Gaolapelwe Ketlogetswe, and thank him for being here with us tonight. We have the former President of the Republic, His Excellency, Lieutenant General Soretsekgama Ian Kama, who is also Khosikgolo of the Bangwatu tribe. Khosikgama, the fourth, under whose jurisdiction many of us who come from the Central District happen to fall. There is actually, for those of you who don't come from that district, there's an act of parliament. It's called the Mangwatu Membership Act. You can apply under that act, and I'm sure he will happily grant you membership of the tribe. Let me recognize the former Vice President. I see him now, Reslamba Tsokwani. Thank you very much for being here. I may appreciate the chairs of the ministerial segment of the Binational Commission, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Relations of the Kingdom of Lesotho, Honorable Dimpotau, and our Minister for International Relations, Dr. Penyo Butali. We recognize you. We recognize ministers from Lesotho and Botswana who are here with us tonight, and all assistant ministers, members of parliament. I see a few of them. I see Remabeo, who is mellowed down somewhat. He's become mild and meek. And we appreciate the transformation, but we recognize you with appreciation. And other members of parliament who are here, we appreciate you. The High Commissioner of Lesotho to Botswana, Mr. Ntsime Jafeta. The High Commissioner of Botswana to Lesotho, Mayor Sanji Monageng. I saw her here, yes. I must also appreciate the heads of diplomatic missions. I have seen the ambassador of the United States of America. Recognize you, sir. We appreciate. And your country has played some very good football at the World Cup. We now know you not just for basketball and what you improperly call football, which is much like rugby, but now you play soccer, and you play it so well. Thank you very much for being here, and my regards also to the other members of the diplomatic corps. We have the chairman of Ntlu Khosi, Khosi Malope II. We recognize you, Khosi. The permanent secretary to the President, Mayor Boko, is here. The Attorney General of the Republic is here as well. I've seen the Ombudsman, Advocate Stephen Iroya Khosi. Also recognize the President of the Director of Public Prosecutions, who made a very interesting observation recently that almost got him into trouble. If I had not intervened and defended him, acted as his legal representative, and he had said that the whole of the government enclave is a crime scene. And so when they would otherwise have crucified him, I asked, show me a portion that is not. And that's where the debate ended. We are still to continue it. Sure, they are still doing research. Let me recognize heads of international organizations, senior government officials from Lesotho and Botswana, titans of industry. See a number of envoys and advisors to the president. The mayor of the city is also in our midst. We recognize him and thank him. Members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by welcoming you, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, and your delegation on this auspicious occasion of visit, your official visit to Botswana. We are delighted and honored to host you in our country, your country, marking what I consider as a significant and forward-looking moment in the relations between our two nations. The relationship between Botswana and Lesotho is one of equals, equal in dignity, sovereign standing, and sincerity of commitment to each other's well-being and to each other's prosperity. We are two nations whose histories, cultures, languages, and aspirations are deeply intertwined, and whose experiences continue to offer important lessons for our region and for the African continent. As small, landlocked states, we say land-linked, we share a common reality in which our prosperity is closely linked to strong regional institutions, efficient trade corridors, effective multilateral systems, and a rule-based international order. It is from this foundation of shared circumstances and responsibilities that our bilateral relationship derives its deepest meaning and enduring strength. The Right Honorable Prime Minister, your visit, the second to the country during my presidency reaffirms the deep-rooted bonds of friendship, solidarity, and shared purpose that unite our two nations and peoples. It also comes at a particularly opportune moment following my working visit to Lesotho in July 2025. On that occasion, our two nations signed the agreement establishing the Botswana-Lesotho Binational Commission, thereby elevating our cooperation from the Joint Commission on Technical and Economic Cooperation to a more strategic and structured level of engagement. I was also honored to participate in the celebrations marking the 62nd birthday anniversary of His Majesty King Letsie III, a memorable occasion that further underscored the warmth and depth of our bilateral ties. The fact that we meet in Gaborone less than a year later to convene the inaugural session of the Botswana-Lesotho Binational Commission is a clear demonstration of our shared commitment to deepen and transform our economic relations into a more impactful and result-oriented strategic partnership. Your visit provides a valuable opportunity to advance cooperation across key sectors of our economies, address shared development challenges, and work jointly towards a more inclusive, resilient, and sustainable future for our peoples. I note with appreciation the steady progress being made in strengthening cooperation in areas such as trade and investment, agriculture, tourism, culture, sport, education, health, youth development, and defense and security. It is equally important that we redouble our efforts to conclude outstanding bilateral agreements and accelerate the implementation of concrete transformative projects such as the Lesotho-Botswana Water Transformation Project, which the President of the Republic of South Africa during his visit here recently rechristened the Lesotho, South Africa, Botswana Water Transfer Project, Lesabo. I take it that discussions tomorrow we will endorse and bring on board fully South Africa. This project aims to transfer water from Lesotho's abundant highland resources via South Africa to Botswana over a distance of 700 kilometers. 500 of those kilometers, the water will move by force of gravity. 200, it will be pushed. When it enters Botswana at some point, it will enable us to construct a hydro power station of about 5 megawatts. And it will bring water in abundance to the southern part of the country. You got that, Remabe? You are one of the areas that will be directly benefited by this project. This water infrastructure initiative is being implemented under the auspices of the Orange Senku River Commission, or RASECOM, and it has the potential to unlock significant economic opportunities for our countries, for Lesotho, for South Africa, and Botswana, while strengthening water security, food security, and climate resilience, and supporting industrialization in line with our regional and continental priorities. Prime Minister, the economic relationship between our two countries holds considerable promise, and this promise remains largely underexplored and underexploited. The current levels of bilateral trade remain modest when measured against the full scope of our potential. And in this regard, I welcome the convening of the Botswana-Lesotho Business Forum on the margins of this inaugural Botswana-Lesotho Binational Commission. This reflects the importance we attach to the private sector as a key engine of inclusive growth and economic transformation. We have said we want a private sector-led growth in our economy, and this has some implications for government and sometimes of government's overbearing involvement. So we will cede some of the space, some of the powers, some of the control to the private sector, so that government can play the role of umpire and formulate appropriate policies and laws to regulate the involvement of private capital in the economy, appreciating always that capital left to its own devices can become predatory and dangerous. It needs some regulation, meaningful, facilitative, but some regulation all the same. Not regulation, over-regulation to frustrate and to thwart private sector involvement. And so I encourage the continued and active participation of the business community in the business forum, so that they can then record their participation as well and identify as well as pursue opportunities. Prime Minister, allow me to commend the government and people of Lesotho for the determined efforts you continue to make in addressing long-standing political and security challenges in your country. And let me commend you because two of our citizens who had fled your country fearing political persecution, you've now managed to return them to the country, assured them of security and the full protection of the state within the letter and the spirit of the laws of Lesotho. We commend you for this act. We applaud your government's commitment to consolidating democratic governance, strengthening national institutions, and fostering political stability that your country so richly deserves. We are also honored as Botswana to have played a critical role in supporting peace-building efforts in Lesotho, and I wish to reaffirm our continued commitment to supporting your journey. The challenges confronting humanity today are increasingly becoming complex. They are interconnected and they are evolving. As neighbors and members of the African continent and global community, we must strengthen our cooperation to achieve inclusive growth and sustainable development. I remain confident that with necessary political will, good governance, prudent management of natural resources, respect for the rule of law, and protection of human rights, the challenges facing Africa are surmountable. We need to wrestle to conquer the scourge of corruption. We in Botswana recently concluded a forensic audit that has laid bare the scale of the challenge that is occasioned by a collapse of good governance and where impunity is allowed to gain root and to thrive. This compromises even the integrity of institutions that would otherwise be charged with carrying out the much-needed investigations and prosecuting those who deserve prosecution. This has resulted in us having to rethink: can we entrust this exercise to these institutions that have been in existence, that may in fact in some shape or form and to some degree be themselves implicated? Can we expect them to conduct any meaningful and credible investigation? It's a rhetorical question. I ask it not to require an answer. I ask it because the answer is embedded in the very question itself. So we have a slightly different approach within the bounds of the Constitution and the powers vesting pursuant thereto, and bring about structures even on an ad hoc basis that will focus on this important task that redefines the character of the Republic of Botswana. And we do this without fear and without reproach, firmly grounded on the Constitution and the rule of law. And to those who may otherwise feel we should have proceeded otherwise, let's engage so that we demonstrate the enormity of the challenge, seriousness with which we must approach the task at hand. I say these things, Honorable Prime Minister, to demonstrate that we are wrestling with these challenges, and these are everyday challenges that engage the leadership and that call for us to craft and fashion appropriate solutions. And these solutions may actually not be in existence now, but we must come up with these solutions so that we anchor and support democracy, the rule of law, and good governance. And so I remain confident that we will stay the course. We will advance steadily towards a reclamation of good governance, prudent management of our resources, respect for the rule of law, and the protection of human rights. And if I may confess to you, and I was saying to the Chief Justice, I spent part of my day today going over several human rights cases that have come before our courts, because I was reflecting on the jurisprudence and the approach that has been taken. I got angry. I told the Chief Justice, I was reading the Pitseng judgment, I got angry all over again at the grotesque violation of the most basic principles of human rights. It incensed me. And I thought I should write a book, or at least a chapter in a book about this. And I started right away working on it. I'm just telling you, Chief Justice, not to influence you, but to also say that judges are not hothouse plants. We engage with them, with their jurisprudence. We critique them. And sometimes we disagree and we want to fight with them within the law. And so we are sworn to upholding human rights, even in the most painful of circumstances. And I've said the worst violator of human rights is actually the state. It is the state that must itself be restrained from violating people's rights. And so as we approach a comprehensive review of our Constitution, we need to reflect on some of these things carefully, maturely, sensibly, together. Botswana and Lesotho may be small in size, but we are not small in ambition. We are not small in values, and we certainly are not small in what we can achieve together. We are not small in what we can contribute to our region when we act with purpose, with unity and determination. Honorable Prime Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like at this point to invite you to rise, grab a glass of some beverage except water. Let it not be water, because it is said that to toast with water brings bad luck. So let it be something other than water. And you will join me as I propose a toast to the continued personal good health and well-being of His Majesty King Letsie III of the Kingdom of Lesotho, to the good health and vitality of the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Samuel Matekane, to the enduring friendship, solidarity, and fruitful cooperation between Botswana and Lesotho, to international peace, stability, and a shared prosperity for all. Cheers. Yes.